Hello, everybody. I hope you guys are enjoying your New Year's Eve. Today, we're going to be looking at recently named Winter Storm Henry, which is going to be coming onto the West Coast shortly, and we're going to be kind of looking at the snowfall potential because even some lower elevation areas, not as high up as the higher elevations, could be seeing some snowfall evidence, not just rainfall, like we have been seeing recently. And it is quite a major system. It has already been named, and it's still offshore. It's going to be producing rain to the immediate coastline, and then once you get just inland, you're going to be seeing some snowfall. And because this is a very busy time of year, it is going to be very impactful to those who are traveling across the west coast, whether you are experiencing rain or snow. And also, there will be some frigid temperatures on the backside of this. So let's get right into it here with the National Weather Service. We'll go from west to east. We have winter weather advisories over parts of Oregon and Washington, and also coming back into Montana, Idaho, and Wyoming, and then another portion here for parts of Nevada and Utah. The winter weather advisories are in the purple. In the pinks, that's winter storm warnings over parts of northern Utah into western Wyoming, and also for western Montana. And then we have high wind warnings and high wind watches kind of dotted across parts of the northern Rockies, as well as wind chill advisories because we will have some pretty gusty winds. Because of those high wind watches, we will have some pretty gusty winds, and you will have some pretty cold temperatures, bringing your feels like temperatures or your wind chills down below zero in many areas in those wind chill advisories. Now we're going to move further east. We have winter weather advisories for the western half of Michigan, as well as a little bit of northern Indiana. We have northwest Pennsylvania, as well as westernmost upstate New York in winter weather advisory, and near Watertown, New York, and north of Buffalo, you're going to be seeing winter storm warnings and winter weather advisories. And this is still from Gauge. Winter storm Gauge is currently progressing through parts of the Northeast, brings winter storm warnings from Portland, Maine, up all the way to Caribou, Maine, and as well as almost all of New Hampshire, except for the coastal part of New Hampshire, under a winter storm warning. Winter weather advisories for the more coastal areas of Maine and New Hampshire as well. Now, that is going to wrap up the National Weather Service. We're going to talk about more of the scientific breakdown of what's happening with Winter Storm Henry. So, we do have, this is looking at your precipitable water. So, this is the amount of moisture in the atmosphere that is currently in the atmosphere, and this is your anomaly, so it's showing you where it's more wet than normal in the atmosphere. So we're looking at this area right here. This is your winter storm Henry. This is the plume of moisture, this jet of moisture that is bringing all of this rainfall or snowfall, depending on your elevation, to parts of the west. So we're kind of zoomed in on the North Pacific. So here, this is Asia, and this is the U.S., Canada, right over here. Now we're gonna continue this. You see, you have this moisture streaming in, and this moisture, we'll move it back here. You see, this moisture is originating from areas very close to the equator. So this is very moist air that is being pulled up north and into parts of British Columbia, into Washington, Oregon, and into Idaho and Montana. And it's gonna, as you'll see, it's gonna move further south and bring snowfall and rainfall into those areas. And you see, it continues, and you're even gonna have another system that originates because of this fire hose jet, and that's going to bring some moisture to another set of moisture to the western United States. Now, we're going to look at your precipitation here, zoomed in just on the United States. Here you see winter storm Gauge departing. All of this is from winter storm Gauge, back end snow showers into the Midwest, and you have rain and snow to parts of the Northeast as well. This right here is Winter Storm Henry, and you're going to see it is going to quickly move further to the south, bringing heavy rainfall to the immediate coast. And then once you get really past Oregon and Washington and to the east of there to Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, Utah, even into Nevada and into Colorado, it's going to be pretty much all snowfall from there So you see all that snowfall making it into areas closer to Salt Lake City, and Salt Lake City could be seeing 5 to 6 inches out of this, and even Denver is gonna get in on some of this snowfall. Cheyenne, Wyoming is gonna get in on some of this. So some major metropolitan areas getting in on some of this snowfall. All of this is really a very unorganized system, but it is a very broad system. So it is gonna be impacting a large population just because of how broad it is, and this snow won't be heavy really once you get past this would be Wednesday morning, and now this would be Thursday. So sometime between Wednesday and Thursday, the system's gonna really break down, and then you're gonna see it re-intensify as you get more of this moisture to get pulled in from the Pacific, on the southern side of the Pacific, closer to Mexico, and then also some of that Gulf moisture as well. That's going to be able to fire up some thunderstorms as we continue this. So you see, this system moves in with Winter Storm Henry. So now this is all Winter Storm Henry. This will be by Friday morning. All of this is Winter Storm Henry. It's going to be a large rain producer for the east and a lot of snowfall. Well, actually, some lighter snowfall on the back side of this. But you could also see some pretty large thunderstorms as you get into Alabama, Mississippi, and northern Georgia, and as well as Louisiana as well. And really, once you get into Florida and into southern Georgia and southern South Carolina, that's when I think you have the best shot of seeing some thunderstorms, as you're gonna have, at least from what it looks like right now, from about 3 to 4 days out, it looks like you will have an increased amount of energy in the atmosphere that these storms can actually use to kind of fire up. Now, as we continue this, you see heavy rain starts to move into parts of the East Coast, as well as some back-end snow showers. This snow, as this cold air is starting to move down, you have this high pressure situated somewhere right around the U.S.-Canada border, and you're having this cold air be pulled in from the high pressure, bring all that air down, and you still have the system, you still have the precipitation in the atmosphere. So even parts far south as Kentucky, Missouri, southern Missouri into southern Illinois, southern Indiana could all be seeing some snowfall, as well as parts of Indiana and into Michigan as well. Could be seeing some light to moderate snowfall at times. Now, as we continue this, moves into the Appalachians, and then the snow really dies down from there once it hits the Appalachians, and then it kind of moves offshore. Now, here is your total snowfall from the first part of this system. So this right here, this is all from winter storm gauge. So this is not what we're talking about right here. This is what we're talking about over the west coast. This is all winter storm Henry. And you see, we have in the higher elevations, you're seeing closer to 6 to 12 inches, and even parts could be seeing closer to 4 feet of snowfall. Some areas closer to 5 or 6 feet or more. Now, we're going to look at the second part of this system now, and this would be for once it hits the eastern United States. You see, you're adding about an inch or two to these areas, and then to the northeast, you're adding about another 6 inches onto your totals that you're already seeing from Winter Storm Gauge. So it is a bit hard to see how much snowfall you're going to get out of this so far, because Winter Storm Gauge is still dumping snowfall. So this also takes into account how much snowfall Winter Storm Gauge is still going to put down. But for now, it's a pretty good indicator, and we can look at this to kind of see how much snowfall is going to be you're going to be seeing from Winter Storm Henry. So I'll kind of show you. This is the area we're looking at for Winter Storm Henry right here, and I'll move it back to the previous one. So you see parts further to the south are getting actually some of that snowfall. You see, we have that snowfall arriving further to the south. Also, Appalachian snowfall is introduced, and you're adding about a half a foot to a foot of snowfall over parts of the northeast. Now, here we're going to look at the southeast now, because there is going to be a severe threat with this. Now, you're going to see this moisture starts to come in by Thursday morning, and now as we get into Friday morning, you're seeing the heavier bands of rainfall starting to move in through Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, and into Tennessee, and then it continues to move out and further to the east. Here's your total rainfall, and you see quite a bit of rainfall is being produced. In those browns, you're seeing about 5 inches, and even in these dark reds, that's closer to 4 inches. So a lot of rainfall indicated by the European. Now the GFS isn't showing quite as much rainfall as the European, but the European has, for a couple of days now, been kind of showing a lot more rainfall than the GFS is showing. Now it's showing about 5 inches in some isolated locations. And of course, this band of moisture, it's going to move to the east and it's going to move to the west. But we will have a better indication once we get about 48 hours closer to the event. So I'll make another video on this to keep you guys informed. Now, we want to look at the CAPE. This is the convective available potential energy in the atmosphere. So this is showing you where you have enough energy to really produce a storm. So you want really above 750 kilograms, joules per kilogram of energy here in the atmosphere. So once you get into this lightest blue, and then once you get into the green or higher, that's where you have the best shot of seeing these thunderstorms pop up. So you see over the panhandle of Florida, according to this run of the European, you're seeing closer to 1,500 joules per kilogram over parts of northern Florida, and this is going to progress to the east, but it is going to die out as you get further to the east and you lose that daytime heating. And these thunderstorms would be taking place right around Thursday night into Saturday morning, which would be from the 3rd to the 5th of January. Here's the GFS model, and I wanted to look just at the southeast here because this is the part of the forecast that is going to change the most because we are farther out from this event. The west coast part, we are pretty close to this event, so we know pretty much what's going to happen, and not a lot is going to change. But as you get further to the east and further away from this event, we are going to have more changes in this forecast. So we'll quickly look at the GFS just for precipitation and rainfall. You see rain starts to move in by Thursday morning, and then by Friday morning, rain has moved all the way into Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, Georgia, Florida, and look how far north this rain is being pushed north. You're seeing it all the way up closer to the Great Lakes, hitting the Great Lakes, and even further north. Some rain could even touch southern parts of Canada here. It's a very warm system, and it's not moisture lacking. It has a lot of energy to work with. This will be for Saturday morning, and then by Saturday morning, it's pretty much done with, but you do see some backhand snowfall to the Appalachians. Now, as we go to your precipitation or your total accumulated precipitation, in this scenario, it's going to be almost all rain, and it's going to be for really this area, again, indicated by the GFS, it's in the same area, but the GFS is showing only 2 to 3 inches instead of 4 to 5 inches. Definitely still could cause some flash flooding, and I'll have my official forecast on the severe weather and also the flash flooding potential coming up in my next update on this, which should be within the next 1 or 2 days. Anyways, guys, if you did enjoy this video, please consider liking the video, subscribing, and turn on notifications. I make these videos every day, so I'd really appreciate if you do those things, subscribe, and leave a like. Anyways, guys, that was Eli the Weather Guy, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.